say this city, she's been there for years now. For years now. So death is not something that scares me.
What's up, YouTube? Legendmaster here with a brand new video. I just grabbed 6 random things that I thought would work pretty well together. You can see the core of my clay doll in there. Anyway, my opponent is running a fairly bulky team with a Weezing, Hitmontop, and Umbreon. The Empoleon probably especially defensive, so a very bulky team. My biggest concerns are that Ditto and the Magnetric, which, if it's Scarf, could trick me, I think it's switcheroo me a Scarf, and do all sorts of crazy shenanigans, so I gotta watch out for those two. Anyway, let's just get right into the match and start going here. Anyway, he does lead with the Ditto, and I felt he might, so I decided to lead with my Crobat. Now this means he is faster because I am adamant banned, so he will be faster. Anyway, or Scarf band. Anyway, I do know my Empoleon completely walls my Crobat, so I can safely go into it while he goes for the Zen Headbutt. And this does mean he's probably going to switch, and I'm guessing the Electric type. My prediction is Earthquake. This is an offensive Empoleon, and I get the Earthquake. Perfect prediction in the first couple turns. I'm looking really nice here. And his HP just keeps going down, 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 and checkmate. That is the end of Magnetric. One of the biggest threats on his team just completely gone, smashed by an Earthquake. I don't think the crit mattered, but if it did, well, it helped speed up the process because I have Aqua Jet. Anyway, that is the end of his Magnetric, which is great. He does go into Hitmontop, though, and I don't want to stay in for anything that he's got. So I am going to go back into Crobat and threaten with the Brave Bird. Now, I 4 times resist the high jump kick. All his fighting moves are pretty much useless. He could have predicted the Stone Edge, which was a little risky, but I know he's going to go into his own Empoleon here, which is kind of an obvious play. So I'm going to go ahead and U-turn out right straight and go into my Heracross. This isn't actually this normal Scarf set, so I'm just going to go ahead and smash with this, or actually I just go for the Swords Dance. I should have just Mega Horned there. Anyway, Weezing comes in. I can't do anything to Weezing, so I'm actually going to go into Luxray and take the Willow. Now, a lot of people would automatically assume Luxray is useless here, but no. Luxray is actually a Guts variant with Facade, and so he's going to be very useful later on. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and switch again, this time into Claydol, and double switch, go right back into Crusher, the Luxray, and dodge the Toxic, which is amazing. I'm really keeping myself on the ball here, and he's forced to switch, and I'm just going to go for the Facade as he switches into his his Ditto. And that is one very dead Ditto, as it gets completely obliterated by the Guts boosted Facade. And so I am looking very nice now. His 2 main offensive threats are gone. I've done huge damage. Coffee takes a huge chunk of damage from that Facade, and he's probably going to want to switch out here. And so I can just safely go for yet another Facade. Luxray is just completely rampaging through this guy's team. Anyway, he does have the Empoleon, but even though it resists, I do over 1/4 damage. Ow! Well, about 1/4 after leftovers. And so Luxray really put in a lot of work, and so I let it fall finally. And now I can go into Darmanitan, threaten with the superpower, and I've been really predicting a lot, so I figure he wasn't expecting me just to go for the obvious play, but he does switch into Weezing, which was a good move on his part, and he takes that relatively well. But his Weezing is really hurting now, but I have to switch, and I decide I'm going to go into Empoleon because I pretty much wall his Weezing, and so that's the plan. But he does have Pain Split, which all that hard work Luxray put in is pretty much gone, and that is incredibly, incredibly annoying. But now I know the Will-O-Wisp is incoming, and I don't want Empoleon to take it. So I'm going to go into Claydol and just get my rocks up. And that's the plan here. And so it's a wall versus wall, so it's going to take forever. But I am burned, so he'd win eventually. But he does decide to switch into his Umbreon. And this does give me an opportunity to get my rocks up, throw off the Toxic, and start weakening his team. That's the plan. Anyway, he pursues predicting me to switch right away, but I don't. I just go for the toxic. And now this means I can just keep on firing off the ice beam until I die, and the toxic damage will really rack up on him and get him down to a point where he'll easily be revenge killed. And the problem with this guy's team is it's so bulky, it takes a lot to break down. And so I'm just trying to weaken his key walls, and Umbreon is one of those primary walls. And so at this point, Toxic and Burn are doing about the same amount. Next turn, they'll be doing more. And he turns out to have the heal bell, which is, I thought at the time, well, go figure, that's annoying, but what can I do? And I go for the ice beam, and I get a freeze right there, which is just absolutely amazing because he just got his poison taken away, and then I freeze him. That's just an amazing combination. So now I'm able to switch out fairly safely and go into Darmanitan. I know he does not want to take anything from Darmanitan. So I'm just going to U-turn and start getting some momentum built up as he keeps on hurting himself with the stealth rocks. And so U-turn out, do a little bit of chip damage, not really a lot, and go into my Crobat, which has the Zen Headbutt. He knows it because he's used it even with his own Ditto. So he's going to have to switch. I know he's going to switch, and I don't know what he's going to switch into. So I decide I'm just going to U-turn out, keep on building that momentum up. And at this point, he really doesn't have any choice but to keep on switching. And so the Stealth Rock damage is going to keep on adding up and weakening him more and more. Now, he does still have Hitmontop, and I know it's a fairly decent switch in at this point. And so I'm just going to go ahead and U-turn one more time, because U-turn will do huge damage against the Umbreon if it stays in, and if he decides to switch, it'll just give me more momentum. So I'm going to go back into Crobat, and at this point, he realizes that I can just keep on switching as I need, and I'm just going to smash with the Brave Bird this time, or what you might call the Brave Bat. Anyway, down goes Hitmontop, and I'm looking really good now. He's going to go back into his Wheezing, and he's lost a nice chunk of health, and it is a banded Brave Bird from a Crobat, so it's going to do a ton of damage, nearly taking him out. Not quite, but he's going to hit me with a Flamethrower, and I'm like, well, I'm dead, but no, I survive. However, I get the burn, which means Crobat's going to die anyway, which stinks, but what can I do about it? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Darmanitan now, and just start flare blitzing everything. And his entire team's been weakened to a point that nothing can really take the flare blitz. He's going to go into his Empoleon, his healthiest Pokemon, but it is past probably about 35% damage. So I know the flare blitz should take it out unless it's physically defensive, and take it out no problem as well, leaving him down to his Umbreon, I do believe. And it's just going to get smashed by the flare blitz as well, and that will be the game. I hope you enjoyed this match, and Darmanitan is a monster. Later.